Kal Kadosh, Boker Or. Daf Yomi Masechet Zevachim, Daf Samech Daled Mud Aleph 64a1. Says the Gemara, we are by the two dots where it says Shelosha Devarim. There's three Devarim. Yeah. Which was by the Kerem Aravid Dromit. Right? So he says like this. Right? Mishamesha Milamata, which is going to be on the bottom of the Chuta Sikra. Number one, Chatat Ha'of is Kid Adam Randa, which we just said. Remember, the Chatat Ha'of is on the bottom. Olat Of Lemala, Ain. Olat Of Lemala, Chatat Ha'of Lemata. Yeah, that's the way that it is. So he says, Dichtiv, right? Agashot. How do we know that Agashot is going to be Lemata Michuta Sikra? Says the Gemara. Right? Dichtiv el penei mizbeach. You're going to put it by the face of the mizbeach. V'shirei adam and the leftovers of the blood. Also dichtiv et kol dam ha'pari yishpoch el yisod mizbeach. That all the blood of the pot you're going to pour it by the yisod mizbeach. Next two dots. Minamala. Three things are going to be above the chuta sikra on the southwest corner of the mizbeach. Number one, nisucha mayim, nisucha yain ve'olat ha'of. Right? Keshehi rabba b'mizrach. What does that mean? Nisucha mayim. Where do you do the water libations? When do you do water libations?
Sukkot.
Chazak Baruch. Sukkot. Right? You do the water libation. Nisucha mayim. Nisucha yain. When do you do wine libations? With korbanot. With many different korbanot. They always have levin. Right? They have to bring the wine. Yeah? So he says that's nisucha yain. The olata off. And also the olata off. Right? When there's going to be a lot of things in the dromit. Right? Mizrachit. So when it's going to be the southeast, so then you're going to go to the southwest. Okay? Maitama. What's the reasoning? Why is it the keren dromit mizrachit is the keren amuvcheret? Right? So he says, Rabbi Yochanan Amar, mipnei shekrova mi bet hadeshen, because it's going to be close to the bet hadeshen, which means that's where the Kohen used to throw, right, the notzot and everything. So therefore, because it was there, that's why it was more preferable. So they would do it on the east, right, southeast. That was the best way of doing it. However, if you can't do it at the east, so then you're going to do it on the southwest. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, Bo ure kama gadol kochan shel kohanim. Look at the power of the Kohanim. She'en lecha kal shebaofot, yoter mimura v'notza. The least, meaning the lightest part of the off, is going to be the mur'a and the notza, the feathers and the cress. Cress is it called? How do you say it in English? How do you say mur'a?
The what?
Mur'a is the zefek and the notza. The crop. So the crop. Okay, and the notza. So he comes and he says like this. He says. He says here the zefik we're going to see there's a machloket exactly is for example is the nutza the kurkeban or is the mamash notzot, and the zefik is usually the I don't remember, I think it's like the bottom part of the bird, like underneath the chin or something like that. I don't know if it says it, but okay, I think that's what it is. Pe'amim shakohen zorkan yoter mi b'shloshim amah. Sometimes he could throw it 30 amot. Meaning that if it's going to be so light, it's very difficult to come and to throw very, very far. The heavier something is, the easier it is to throw. Okay, but here obviously it was so light, and he was able to throw it like 30 amot. The Tanambas we learned in a Mishnah, right? It says there what it is or not? The crop, doctor, you have what it is? Are you trying to look? Okay. The Tanambas we learned in a Mishnah and Tamid. Natal machta shel kesef ve'ala l'rosh mizbeach. He used to take the machta, right, the shovel of silver, and go to the top of the mizbeach achitzon. Upinat gechalim elach ve'elach. And then he used to take the gechalim, right, from one place to another, right? Ve'chata mina meukalot, right? He used to come and he used to do lechatot. Lechatot is to mix it around, right? He says the ones which are burnt, hapnimiyot, right? V'yored, and then he used to go down from the mizbeach. He used to get to the floor of the mizbeach, right on the bottom of the kevesh. Machzir panav klapei tzafon. He used to turn to the north, right, which is basically the kotel dromi of the mizbeach. Ve'olech letzad mizracho shel kevesh ke'esr amot. He used to go 10 amot, right? Tzavar et gechalim. He used to take the gechalim, right, al gabei rizpa. He used to put on the floor. Rachok min kevesh 3 tfachim, right, 3 tfachim distance from the kevesh, right, because that was called the bet hadeshen. We have the picture, no? You guys remember on the picture here. Doctor, do me a favor. Send me the picture so that way I can actually print it out. The picture that you put on the chat a few days ago. Here it is.
Instead of having the
Look in the Daf Yomi chat. Ah, it's too small. No, we need a big. Here it is. This one. Here it is. Look, in the one that Ronen sent on 11:9. So on this one, this is a mizbeach, and right here, when he was going towards the north, oops, right? Where does it say the directions here? Doesn't say it.
Where did I send it?
11:9. You've got beta deshen. Everyone sees the beta deshen? There's the mizbeach. This is the mizbeach right here, and then right there is the beta deshen, right over there. Yeah, everyone sees it. You ראית או לא? איפה שכתוב בית הדשן. Doctor, you found it? So that's the bet addition. That's what we just spoke about. That means basically you're going to go down, right? You go down the kevish. Now, when you go down to the kevish, you have to start walking north, and then that's where you get to the bet addition, because the bet addition was north, right? He said it, 10 amot. No, he said. Remember, how much is the kevish? The kevish is 30 is very long. So he says you're going 10 amot.
But you have to kind of go around like a U-turn.
Yeah, you go down and then you go to like a U-turn.
To the left and left.
Yes.
Okay. And what's the
Okay.
fifth edition?
That's where they used to burn the leftovers, and that was where all the ashes were and all these things. That's why you're taking the burnt coals and you're putting it over there, right? Now it says over here you have to have a distance of 3 tfachim, right, from the kevesh, right, and that's where they used to put the mur'ah and the notzah and the dishum mizbeach hapanimi v'menorah. So according to that, it makes sense why you're doing it on the dromit mizrachit. Where's the southeastern part of the mizbeach?
Is it possible that the Kohanim had a ramp, this green line?
That green line is a ramp.
So it was for the Kohanim.
Yeah, for sure, obviously. Who's it going to be for? Yeah. So, by the way, where's the southeast corner? Which part is the southeast corner?
West is in front of the house, so it's on the opposite.
Very good. So that's why it makes sense. Meaning the southeast is better because that's where you're going down right away, and you're going to put the mur'ah and the notzot and everything. Okay. So says the Gemara, Hani tfei mitlatim v'chad avyan. He says, 1 second, right? How could you tell me now that the Kohen is going to come and throw, right? That's going to be more than 30 amot, right? Why? Because what does that mean now that you're throwing at 30 amot, right? He says, when the Kohanim did the avodat olat ha'of bekerem maravi dromit, they used to throw the zefek and the notzah more than 30 amot, right? He says over here, because this is a hochacha of the power of the Kohanim, right? So he comes and he says, right? Why? Because Makom Adeshin was 10 amot to the north of the beginning of the Kevish, right? So על פי זה אפשר לשעד לאיזה מרחק הצליח הכהן להשליך את המנה מנוצל כשעושה את העבודה עולה טוב בקרן המנה דיברומונית. He says המזבח היה רבוע של 32 אמה על 32 אמה, ורוחב הכבש הוא 16 על 16, לפי זה היה מרחק של 8 אמות מהצד המערבי של המזבח עד הכבש, right? That means like this, you had 8 amot until the kevish. You're on the corner, the southwest. So the southwest until the kevish, until the ramp, is 8 amot. Shalosh mishmone amot, right? Elu tafsu yesod v'sovev v'keren. So you had 3, which was the yesod, the sovev, and the keren. Nimtza shek'shamad hakohen b'royesh mizbeach. So when he's on top of the mizbeach, right, by the eastern part, right, he says over here mizrechit tzifoni. So he comes and he says over here, hu ya merchak 5 amot me'akevesh, 5 amot from the kevesh. So kevan sherochav hakevesh haya 16 amot. Now, if the width is going to be 16 amot, it comes out that he's actually standing, right? Amam ben merchak 21 amot. It's going to be 16 plus 5 is 21, right? So now he comes and he says, "Kefi shemol makom adeshen haya rachok 10 amot from the bottom of the kevesh, which is going to be, right, another 10 amot." Why? Because he says it's going to be 22 amot from the Rosh Kotel Mizrahi. Look in the picture. You have a picture there in the bottom of the art scroll. Everyone sees that picture with the shade? Yeah, you guys see it? So there, look. There you have the Kohen. Okay? There you have the Kohen. You've got the ramp itself. The ramp is 16 amot. אתה רואה את זה או לא, מרדכי? כן? אז יש לך שם, הרמפ, הכבש, זה 16 רוחב. Right? It's 16 amot width. Right? Beside the ramp, you have another 5 amot width. Why do you have 5 amot width? Because you had from the corner, to which you had the keren, the ama, the sovev. You have everything until you get to the end. Why? Because if the mizbeach is 32 amot squared, and the ramp is 16, but you're on the edge, right? So if you're going to be on the edge, it's going to be how much is going to be from one edge to another? No. You're talking about something else. One more time. I've got the box, the big box. How big was the big box? 32 by 32. Chazak Baruch. The ramp, how big was the ramp? 16 by 16. The kevish, the kevish, the ramp. No, kevish. Yeah, kevish. So he says that's 16 by 16. So on each side, how much are you supposed to have? 8 and 8. He says you don't have 8 here. Why don't you have 8? You have 5. Why do you have 5? Because you have to take off one amma for the yisod. No, one full amma for the yisod. You have to take one amma for the sovev and one amma for the keren. So therefore, it's 8 minus 3 is 5. So therefore, that's what you have here, the picture 5. Meaning the kohen, when he's standing on top of the mizbeach, he's 5 amot from the ramp. He's not 8. Because 8, you would have one amma for the keren, one amma for the sovev, and one amma for the yisod. He's not there. He's on the top of the mizbeach. So he's on the top of the mizbeach over there. He's got 5 amot to the ramp. The ramp itself is 16 amot. Now, besides the 16 amot, right, you have the bottom, right, which is going to be 10 amot, because you see the picture where it says beta deshen, because it's 10 amot from there. So therefore, he comes and he says, from there to there, right, you've got actually, it's going to become now, how did he say now? Now you said, 22 amot, מראש הכותל של המזבח, שהיה אורכו של הכבש, היה 32 amot. אז זה לנו עוד אמה, between the קרנות, right? And he says, שום מקום במדינתו של הכהן. נמצא שמקום הדשן היה רחוק 23 אמות from the נקודה, from the מזבח שהכהן היה עומד מולה, from where he was. Now he says, העולה מזה שהכהן היה צריך להשליך את הזרק של עולת העוף בנחק אלכסון, right? של משולש, ששתי צלעותיו הם 21 אמות ו-23 אמות, right? So you got 21 by 23. So he says, look in the picture. So now he comes and he says this, how do you get then how do you get 30? How do you get 30? Until now we did 5 and 16. How much is 5 and 16? 21, right? And then he says also you needed another 1 or whatever it is. So you're going to have 22. Okay? Because he says that you needed an extra 1 because the orech of the kevish was 32, but then he continues going. So fine. So he says, Rashi does the following. Orech alachson shel meshulash, right? Do you realize, why did he make the shade? What is the shade? A triangle. How do you do with a triangle? What do you do to get a triangle? In order to get the numbers of a triangle, what are you supposed to use? Pi. יש לי משולש, right? זה משולש, נכון? זה משולש. איך אני יודע את כל בוא נגיד ככה, יש לי את המשולש, יש לי את הרוחב פה, את הרוחב ואת האורך. איך אני יודע את החלק השלישי של המשולש? יש לי ככה?
אורך כפול רוחב שווה גובה.
לא, זה לא זה. לא. זה פאי. It's a rectangle, לא יזה. It's פאי. כן? זה פאי. מה זה פאי? תסתכל למטה. רש"י, פאי זה 3.14. He says, רש"י מחשב החשבון הבא. אורך אלכסון של משולש שצלעותיו הם 21 אמות ו-23 אמות. So you got 21 by 23. Okay? So he says, הוא כמעט כאורך אלכסון ריבוע של 22 אמות. So לחשב את אורכו של אלכסון, the Gemara is now going to come and say, how do you do it? So you're going to do, right, אורך אלכסון של הריבוע הוא כאורך צלע אחת של הריבוע, ועוד שני חומשים, you have to do pi. על פי כלל זה יוצא שאלכסונו של ריבוע, right, he says של 22 אמה הוא 30 אמה ו4 חמישיות האמה. Because you have to do 22 times 1 2/5. Right? So he says 1.4 is 2/5. Yeah? So he says that's equals 34/5. So נוסף לכך, הרי כפי שכתוב במשנה, היה מקום הדשן מרחוק 3 טפחים מקירו של המזבח, ויש כאן להוסיף לצל המשולש על יונה, מחצית אמה, תהיינו 21.5 אמות. So it comes out that it's actually going to be 31 אמות וטפח. It's going to be 31 and 1 טפח. Yeah? So that means it comes out that the Kohen had to throw it 31 and 31, a little bit more than 31 amot.
How is he going to throw a feather in that?
That's what he says. That's the greatness, right? That's the greatness that of the Kohanim, that they were able to come and throw something so light.
Pass it to another coin.
No, he has to throw it. He has to throw it.
He has to play for the Blue Jays.
Yeah. So he says here, Hani Tfei Nitlatin Vechadavian. He says it's more than 31. He says, no, Makom Gavre lo Chashiv. We're not going to put the Makom of the Chashivut or whatever it is. Okay? Until here we're clear? Capisce o no? Yeah, let's continue. Kol haolam, kol haolim lamizbeach. Anybody that goes up to the mizbeach, right? You always go derech yamin, okay? And then you go down derech small. So it says like this. My time out. What's the reasoning? So he comes and he says like this. What is the reason why we always have to go to the right? So he says, Amar Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan, Nesachim Shema, right? The reason why by Nesachim is because Shema yitashnu, right? Which means that maybe when you're going to go around, the wine or the water is going to be mitkalkel, right? The maracha, yipasel nesachim, then it's going to become pasul for the nesachim. Ve'olat ha'of, and the reason why by olat ha'of is shema tamut be'ashan. Maybe it's going to die with the ashan. So what does that mean?
Fire is gonna mix the smoke into the wine. They make them go after counterclockwise.
Again, one more time.
What the smoke is mixed into the libations, then it doesn't. It ruins the wine. So
Right, but why would the smoke get mixed to it in that way and not the other way?
each other, because the other way you see they're gonna hand them the wine after.
Ah, okay, fine. Okay, just because of that, fine.
What do
So-
you mean, if he went right, you're saying?
Yeah. Like, why? Why?
No, if he
What
went
changes
left.
now?
If
Yeah.
he went left, it won't. Why wouldn't it mix?
Saying what's the difference? Yeah, saying the maracha is the maracha, unless you're telling me because the maracha gdola was on the right, but you're going towards the right. The maracha gdola is on the right actually. The big one is on the right. I don't know. Maracha gdola is on the right. Okay, let's see. Well, let's continue. We'll try to find out. Well, mean we have a contradiction. Why? Balo la'akif ta mizbeach. If you want to come to be makif ta mizbeach and to do nisuch hayayin, me'ayin matchil. Where do you start? Mikenen deromit mizrachit, from the southeast, which is on the right. Mizrachit Sefonit. Then you go to the northeast, right? Then you go to the northwest, and then you go to the southwest, and then you put the yain al mizbeach. So therefore, right, the contradiction is that really be'emet. No, but that's going to the right then, so that's fine then.
Yeah. Gonna go through it. There'll be a kasha on Rabbi Yochanan.
What does it say here? He says here, the Gemara is saying right now that the Kohen Gadol is doing the nisuch hayan lifnei she'ekif et mizbeach, v'yam makif et mizbeach kasher yain biyado. Fine, but he's going to the right and he's going around. I don't know. I'm not sure. So let's see the Gemara. Rabbi Yochanan comes and he says, Samach Daled Amud Bet 64b, Hakafa ze baregel. So he says no, the hakafa is without the wine. So for since he didn't have the wine, right? So therefore it was okay. But that means they didn't give him the wine until after he got already to the southwest. So for he went all around the mizbeach, but he didn't have the wine. If he would have gone, so then bemet it would have ruined the wine. Yes, the smoke. So it makes sense actually. Well, the reason why is because when you're going, the smoke, the main smoke was on the right side.
So if you're going left, then it's not gonna affect.
Exactly, it's not going to affect it. But no, so says the Gemara, you're right. You're going on the right side, and that's where the main smoke was. But that's the maracha gdola. But it's without anything. You're just going around with your feet. When you get to the southwest, that's when they give you the wine, and that's when you do the wine. The Amar Rava, and Rava comes and he says, we could also do this. We give him the wine to do nisuch yain. We don't say omer lo nasech. We don't say do it right now. Like why? Because really, be'emet, he didn't have it in his hands yet until he actually got there. Shema mina. Fine. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned on the right. Kol ha'olin lamizbeach olin derech yamin v'yordin derech smol. Olin derech yamin v'yordin derech marav. You go, sorry, olin derech mizrach, and you go down derech marav, which is the same thing. You're saying the exact same thing. Chutz mina olel shoshat dvarim alalu, except for these three things, which is sholin derech marav. You are going to go on the left side, right? Which is what nisuch hamayim, nisuch hayam ve'olat ha'of, right? So he says yordin derech marav, and that means you go up and down in the same way. Olin derech yamin v'yordin derech yamin. So says the derech yamin, derech small. That's not derech yamin. That's derech small. So he says, Ravina, Tani small, you're right, it's small, it's not Yamin. For Rav Amar, what does it mean Yamin? Yamin of the Mizbeach. And what is small? Small of the human being. Meaning, many times I could tell you, you're on my right or you're on my left. It all depends how we're talking about. Are we talking about the mizbeach? So it's going to be the left of the mizbeach or the right of the human being. The way that you go up is you go up that way on the right side, right? On that one going up. However, though, for three things, you go up the other side.
Which is?
The other one, the other side.
And you said, what are the other three things?
We said the nisucha yain, nisucha ma'im, and the ulat taof. You go up and down the same ramp, and that ramp you actually see the up and down. You see it, yeah. On the second ramp, that one, yeah. You don't see the up and down. Why do you think it's double? Because that's up and down. Yeah, yeah. So okay, fine. So he says the Gemara, "Venitne o idivided mizbeach or idivided gavra." So he says you're right. It's a good question. Meaning that I don't understand you. When I'm giving directions, it doesn't make sense. At one time I'm giving you the directions according to the mizbeach, and then one time I'm giving you the directions according to the human being. Like what's your right and what's the left? Is it the right or left of the human being or right and left of the mizbeach? So it doesn't make sense. At one time you're giving me one time you're the other. So it's a good question. Okay, Mishnah. Samach Daled Mubet 64b the Mishnah says the Mishnah. Ma? Ken kasha. אין תשובה.
Meaning he's saying, she says that there's certain Kohanim that only did the wine, and they went up straight, so they had to go left.
Yeah.
And Gadol, they gave it them later, so you could still.
So you could still go the right. But it's a question of what we just asked. Okay? Fine. Chatat ha'of. Ketzad. How did you do chatat ha'of? So it says, Hayitana asid, ketzad hayitana asid, how would you do it? So again, you put in brackets these things. Haya moleket rosha mimul orpa. You used to do the melika mimul orpa. What is the oref? The nape, right? The back part of the neck. The eno mavdilu. Now he does not separate, right, the head from the body, right? Remember that the other one you separate the head. Here, eno mavdil. Okay, so you have to be very very careful. Meaning that even though you're cutting the neck, but you do not separate the actual head from the body. Umazeh, right? Umazeh midama al kila mizbeach, and you're going to sprinkle from the blood on the wall of the mizbeach. Sheyere adam, the leftovers of the blood. Hayam mitmatzeh so then he used to do mitsui adam, right? Which is, if you remember, like putting pressure on the mizbeach with the blood, right? Ve'en la mizbeach el adama, and therefore the basad is not going to be burnt on the mizbeach. So means the dam is the only thing that goes on the mizbeach. Ve'kula la kohanim, and everything goes to the kohanim. Meaning, obviously, olat ha'of goes to the mizbeach, but the chatat ha'of is eaten entirely by the kohanim. So the only thing that goes on the mizbeach is its blood. That's the only thing that goes to the mizbeach. Okay? Says the Gemara. Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in a Braita. V'iza midam chatat. You're going to sprinkle from the blood of the chatat. Migufa chatat. Right? Which means from the body of the chatat. How does it work? Is it from the blood or from the body? So ches barosh uva guf. You're going to hold on to the rosh and the guf. Umazeh, and then you're going to sprinkle it al mizbeach. Velo al kira kevesh, velo al kira echal, velo al kira ulam. You're not going to sprinkle it on the kir of the kevesh or the echal or the ulam. Which one is that? It's the kir tachton. It's going to be the kir tachton. Maybe it's going to be kira elyon of the mizbeach. So he says v'dinhu. Be'ema she'olata lemata, chatata lemala. If the be'ema, the ola is above and the chatat is on the bottom, of she'olato lemala, the of that it is going to be above the chuta sikra. Eno din shechatato lemata. Tamunumar v'nisha b'dam yimatzeh l'yisod mizbeach, which means that from this pasuk we're going to see that kir sheshirayim shalom mitmatzim le'yisod, which kid does it go down to the yisod? So it has to be kira tachton. Meaning the only kir that it goes down to the yisod is what? Is it kira tachton. Why? Doctor, you understood why? Because the question is like this: which kir does the kir is the lemur, the wall. Which wall does the blood go down to the yisod?
It's
The bottom one. The bottom. No. You're talking about which one has a yisod. No, I'm not talking about that now. Talking about which you have walls.
down there. There's two holes there.
Exactly. So there's two walls. If I'm going to come and sprinkle the blood above the chuta sikra, where does the blood go to? To the sovev. To the sovev. It doesn't go to the yisod. If I'm on the bottom of the mizbeach and I sprinkle the blood on the bottom, now it's going to go down to the yisod. That's what we just said. You understood or not? Okay. Exactly. You're missing the yisod. Yeah. So he says, "V'na'aved me'ila'eh ve'hada na'aveh mitateh." So he says, fine, do it on the top and then do it on the bottom. What's the problem? Do it on the top, right, of the mizbeach, and then do it on the bottom of the mizbeach. So Amar Rava says, "Miktiv yematzeh." It doesn't say yematzeh. It says yimatzeh ktiv. The mimela mashma. So it's mashma that mimela it's going down to the yisod, meaning that you don't have to do anything. That means you're sprinkling it and automatically it goes down to the yisod. The only way to do that is doing it on the bottom of the mizbeach. Okay. So Amar Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia, Amar Rav, says Rav Zutra Bar Tuvia Rav, Keitzad molkin chatat haof. How do you do melikat to chatat haof? Ochez gapav b'shtet tzveotav. You're going to hold, right, the wings with the two fingers, right? That means you're going to put them between the amma and the etzba, right? So between the amma and the etzba, you're going to take the two, how do you call this? The two, remember, you're using the melika, right? So you have to take the two wings, you put it between the two, the amma and the etzba, you put it over here, and then what do you do? And then, right, ushte raglayim b'shte etzbeotav, right, and the two legs with the two, right, means these two now, you're going to grab the legs. Everybody understood? One more time. These two fingers, you put the two, no, these two fingers, you're holding the wings. You take the wings, right? These two fingers, you grab the legs. These two over here on the bottom, you grab the legs, okay? And then what do you do? Moteach tzavaro rochav, right, al rochav gudolo, right? You're going to come put it on the rochav, and then molko, and then you come and you do the milika. Okay, so mamash, like it's mamash, it's a. Woo. The truth is, by the way, when they do shchita to the birds, to the chickens, that's how we do it. By the way, I don't know if you ever want to do kaparot, right? How do you hold the chickens to do kaparot over the head? You flip the wings, and then you grab it like this in one hand, and they can't do anything because it's in one hand, and oh, okay, so send it. לא, תשלח את זה, וזהו.
זה כן. ויתרוס. למה זה רק ככה?
ככה זה אמור להיות.
אז מה, נהיה שם בלאגן, כל ה...
They have to practice. Yeah?
זה נראה לי, אתה יודע, זה שואו שאנחנו לא מבינים.
Yeah. במתנית תנא, מתניתא we learned in the ברייתא ציפרא מלבר, which means that the ציפור was מונח על גבי ידו של הכהן.
It shows you the path. כל עם היה, אתה מבין? Yomi put it on check?
Yeah, whatever then.
זכויות יוצרים,
So he says, what does that mean? He's going to be אוחז גפיו, שתי אצבעותיו, שני רגליים בשתי אצבעותיו, מותח צווארו לרוחב שתי אצבעותיו, and then you do the melika. And that's why this is one of the most difficult things to do in the Mikdash, which means, mamash, it was not easy to do melika. Don't think that it was simple, right? So he says, Zoi v'tur, what is the only thing? You have kmitza, chafina. Kmitza is, when you do the kmitza or the chafina also. So he said, no, zo avodah kasha me'avodot kashot shebamikdash. This is the most difficult of the difficult ones of the Mikdash, right, to do this. Fine, next Mishnah. Olata of keitzad nasit. How would you do olata of? So alala kevesh, you go up to the kevesh. Ufanan sovev, you're going to turn to the sovev. Balo lokem daromim mizrachit, you're going to turn to the daromim mizrachit. Hayamoleket rosham mimul orpa. You used to do melika, right, of the olata of mimul orpa, opposite the head. Umavdil, and then you used to separate it. Umitzad dama al kir mizbeach. Then you used to put the mitzuya dam on the wall of the mizbeach. And talet rosh, you take off the rosh, because remember here it's going to be cut off, right? Because here you actually took off the head. Okay, umavdil. When it says mavdil, you're doing avdala. Yeah, avdala, you're mamash separating the head from the body. V'kiv bet melikato lo mizbeach. So you used to go around, right? You used to put the bet melikato on the mizbeach itself, so that way all the blood would come out. Usfago bemelach. Then you used to come and put the head in melach, right? So he says, balo laguf. You would go to the body. V'si the temura and inside you take off the mura and the notza, right? V'et bnei ha'me'ayim you tzib imam in the bnei ha'me'ayim. V'shtichan bet hadeshen, and then you used to throw them on bet hadeshen. Shisa. He used to split, right, with his hands, the body of the off, velo yivdil, but he wouldn't actually separate it. Mamash, he would use his hands to tear open the body, but he wouldn't actually separate it. V'imivdil, but if it did separate, it's still kosher. Sofgo b'melach, used to put it in salt, uzrakol gabei ha'ishim, and used to put it on the fire, right? Velo yisir hamur'a velo notzad b'nemayim, and you mimam velo sofgo b'melach. But if you didn't do it, right? Sorry, 1 second. Velo yisir et hamur'a velo notzad b'nemayim mimam. Or if he was avar v'lo sefego b'melach, kol sheshina bo me'achar shemitza adama kasher, it's still kosher. Meaning, even if you didn't do all the things that you were supposed to, it's still going to be kosher here, right? V'ivdil bechatat. Now, if the Kohen came and he was mavdil by chatat, remember the chatat, you would leave the head on. You would have to do the melikah, but the head still stays on. So what happens if you did do the v'dil bechatat, v'lo v'dil be'olah, pasul. Mitzad dam rosh, v'lo mitzad dam aguf. What happens if you put the mitzad the dam rosh, but not the dam aguf? It's going to be psula. Dam aguf v'lo mitzad dam rosh, it's going to be kosher. Right? Chatat ha'ov shemalka shelo lishma. What happens if you took the chatat ha'ov and you did melika shelo lishma? Or mitzad dama shelo lishma? Or, right, he comes and he says that you did one of them lishma shelo lishma v'lishma, which means that you did the beginning of the avodah, which is the melika or the mitzui, for the chatat, and the rest of them for the olah, or the other vice versa. It's going to be pasul. Olat ha'of keshera u'vilvat shelo alta le'ba'anim shel chovah. The olat ha'of is going to be kosher, right, as long as but it doesn't be chovah for the ba'alim. Therefore, they have to do another one, another korban, basically. Okay? אחד חטאת העוף ואחד עולת העוף שמלקן ושמיצה דמן. Doesn't matter whether it's a חטאת or עולת העוף. That they came and they did מליקה and they took out the blood. לאכול דבר שדרכו לאכול, to eat something which is properly eaten, or להקטיר דבר שדרכו להקטיר, or to come and to do the proper חוץ במקומו, outside of the proper place is going to be פסול, ואין בו כרת, there's no כרת, but if it's going to be חוץ זמנו, it's going to be פיגול, חייבים עליו כרת, ובלבד שיקריב המתיר כמצוותו. Right? As long, the condition is that you're going to bring, right, the matir, right? Because then, right, it was going to be without any other thing to be, right, besides pigul. But if there's going to be another thing also, so therefore anyway it was going to be pasul. Once it's going to be pasul, it's not pigul. You remember that we said that whenever there was an extra reason, right? So therefore it's not going to be pigul, it's going to be pasul. Keitzad kareva matir kmitzato, malak b'shtika. What happens if you do melika quietly? Mitzat adam, now you went and you did mitzat adam chutz zmano, or you did melika chutz zmano, the mitzat adam ishtika, or you did melika mitzat adam chutz zmano. So in all these cases, zeh karev matir kemitzato, you did it properly. So therefore, there's going to be karet because it's pigul. Keitza lo karev matir minzato. What does it mean that you're not going to be karev matir minzato? Number one, malak chutzim komo. What happens if you do melika outside of the proper place? Or you did, right? And then you did mitzad adam chutz zmano. Or you did melika chutz zmano, the mitzad adam chutzim komo. Or melika umitza chutzim komo. In all these cases, right, it's going to be what? This is the third case. The fourth case. Right, 1 second, we didn't get there. Well, the fourth case, chatat lishma, you didn't do lishma, and then mitzad demo chutz zmano. Or fifth case, malak chutz zmano, you did the melika outside of the proper time, or mitzad demo shelo lishma. Or number 6, you did melika and mitzad dam shelo lishma. Zeu shelo karev amatik mitzato. So therefore, since there was another psul besides the pigul, so therefore you're not going to be kayav karet because it's not really pigul. Because again, that means even the matir was not done properly. So if the matir was not done properly, the entire thing was not done properly, even though you're right, there was also pigul, but it's also, right, it's also pasul. Because it's not pigul, it's pasul because of the other things as well. Right, number 7, le'echol kezayt b'chutz, kezayt lemachar, right, kezayt b'chutz. Doesn't matter whether you took from the chatat ha'of and you wanted to eat the kezayt b'chutz, which means outside of the proper place, right, or kezayt lemachar for the next day. Right? Kazay lemachar, and then afterwards kazay b'chutz, or kechetzi zayt, meaning chetzi, right? Chetzi zay lemachar, chetzi zay b'chutz. Pasul again in all these cases. Also, it's going to be pasul. There's no karet because again, it's not 100% pigul. Remember, to make 100% pigul, you need 100% chutzi zmano. The second, but everything else had to be done properly. But if there was another thing which was already going to make it pasul, so if it's pasul, it's not pigul. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, this is a general rule. We're on Samechem Udalef on the top. If the zman came before the makom, it's considered pigul, and you're going to be chayav karet. But if the machshava of the makom came first, so therefore it's going to be pasul and it's not karet. Chachamim say no. The second that there's another aspect other than pigul, it becomes pasul. It's not pigul anymore. So if you did pigul plus chutzim komo, doesn't matter how, whether the Mekomo was first, Mekomo was last, whether, doesn't matter. The second you had another thing involved which disqualified it, pasul. There's no karet. That's the shitat hachamim. Whenever you want to eat chatzi kazait and laktir kazait, kasher, she'en achila v'aktara mitzarfim. Because achila and aktara is not going to be mitzaref.